Welcome to Connection, a presentation on Boster's HSC Design and Technology Stage 6 Case Study Comparative Analysis. The focus is on animation, film and video, and interactive design innovations and technologies. The chapters for the Connection presentation are Syllabus Outcomes Reviewed, Comparative Analysis, Research Extension, Applications to the Major Design Project. The HSC syllabus outcomes involve a wide range of knowledge and expertise. This is an overview of the focus outcomes and the contributing outcomes. This is the abstract or summary for the Article A on character design, as it is innovative with software development. The key terms are underlined and inform the basis of a concept map or Venn diagram, which reveals the key similarities and differences between the two articles, which is focused on cultural expressions of animation and ways of understanding stylizations of that diagram. And it's a diagram which is illustrative of what's being considered as the four main points of similarity and difference. The main similarity has been underlined by a small circle, and it is highlighting cartoon art and also computer graphics as the main aspects of interrelation. You can see going into the overlap area of the Venn diagram that there's art and psychology and art history which connect. Again, perception is involved, psychology of perception and games, which involve perspective, which you can see kind of connects out to expressive narrative and creativity as well. So there is a kind of slight similarity there. And having a look at the connection at the bottom, there is methodologies and synthesizing research, which will be highlighted. Overall comparative analysis diagram of taking those four main points of similarity as well as a last point of dissimilarity, and having a look at how those connect across to the syllabus outcomes. So once they're connected to the syllabus outcomes, we can have a look down the bottom that there is a table which can be set up. I'm not going to go through all of the similarities and dissimilarity, but I will focus on one or two main points of similarity to illustrate or model how to go about analyzing these case studies and research articles. So the first category of similarity is the cartoon forms, and here the cartoon form of Article A is linked with Article B, which we showed before, to do with computer graphics, 3D animation form for realism. So having a look at the main paragraphs from the articles which connect to how those compare together, just Article A here, that having a look at how the researchers have expanded their knowledge of what it means to have 3D modeling happen within computer graphics and software. You can see that here is emerging technologies of trying to understand aspects of two-dimensional artwork for character design that's become three-dimensional, so it saves time and money when developing and producing animations. So there's some key questions there related to extending on technology-related insights that are made in each article. So one of the questions that stimulates higher order learning is what insights are provided in understanding reuse and reapplication of character design forms in Gingold's et al. 2009 and Fiore et al. 2008. So students can now go have a look at those articles or go onto the YouTube clip that's provided there, and that will take them to having a video. So is looking at zoning in on 3D animation form realism, and here we're having a look at what was highlighted as what constitutes the 3D CG markets and applications. And I've highlighted here 3D animation for film and games. And here what's being asked is how can appropriateness of that fit into a particular form of 3D animation. And so for the naturalistic and expressive output for arts and entertainment, we've had an example of Clash of Clans, and this is a interactive video or animation which can be adjusted with perspective with a console direction button at the top left of the screen. So students can go and have a look at that and explore it. But the idea is to really get a clear sense of how that type of expressive and naturalistic modality or rendering of image and animation is appropriate to that type of entertainment form of animation. So comparative analysis. This time I'm looking at the methodology in synthesizing research between both. There's a number which have been selected of points that come up in each of the articles. Moving on to of Article A's methodology, which was to employ games with a purpose, or GWAP. We can have a look at how we can go about critically assessing the emergence of that type of technology within the article by having a look at how they've implemented it as part of the research that they've done. And the work that they've drawn upon is Designing Games with a Purpose by Von Hahn and Darbish. And one aspect I've just highlighted here from that article is that game efficiency and expected contribution is a large part of how there is a algorithmic sense of efficiency that can be measured in counting atomic steps of whatever is trying to be achieved within that particular purpose of gaming. So the very different kind of research involved with Article B. We can have a look at zoning in on Kress and Van Leeuwen's communications theory, which is looking at realism and naturalism, ideas of art as an imitation reality, to carry the primary ethos of 3D animation culture and technology, and how that has been brought up in a diagram, or figure 2, in which we can see a clear classificatory system of understanding the coding orientations and modality cues, which give a sense of realism through to expressiveness. So what is this idea about expressiveness is further explained by Tzidis' idea about imperfection, subjectivity, and notions of incompleteness. And it's interesting having a look at the article's two examples that of video animation documentary style. That the style is about, particularly with Ryan by Landreth 2004, a type of absence or incompleteness in the characters, which a character design which communicates an appropriateness of understanding the type of existence that those characters are going through. And we can have a look at our Waltz with Bashir, that there are very dark tones and highly stylized forms of animation by use of Flash, and those have been utilized to an expressive effect, which is seen as very appropriate. So that could be applied, having a look at the sentient com example of training, simulation, animation, and understanding that at this particular end of the spectrum, which is technological orientation, that legibility, denotation, and restrained color use is particularly important. I think colors are highlighted for this particular training module because it involves safety protection clothing. So moving on to understanding how that photorealism can be tweaked, we're having a look at the Ryan by Landreth again, to see that the distortions work to communicate a kind of idea behind the documentary, which isn't necessarily unreal or expressive as in a traditional cartoon or animation by Pixar, for example, but actually complements and reinforces the communication. Understanding that once you've got an idea of what kind of communication modality that you want to take, then having an example of what it is that you want to achieve, and then working backwards, selecting the technology which is going to allow that to happen. And I've selected Adobe Animate, which is the latest rebranding of Flash, to illustrate that if I wanted to achieve kind of interactive composition, such as the one that's pictured in the background, then I would use Animate CC to achieve that. So again, having a look at a few more applications to the major design project, to be able to justify the technological activities undertaken to achieve the proposed major design project. There is a kind of background part that's offered here to students to understand that the animation process of designing a character in a more traditional sense can be done directly with a touch screen, or it can be scanned through and put into Photoshop and redeveloped that way. So this is really a kind of ground basis from which students can work from, and the idea is from this basis, this core fundamental understanding of animation, the students can go on to develop more of an expressive, experimental, mixed media approach. Illustrated here by some of the ideas that were explored in the Islam et al. Article, which is having a look at basic shapes as a way of having a kind of character and emotion that's automatically given to the character by virtue of their appearance. And so that's part of the design process. So extending that doesn't necessarily mean that you can use only mixed media approaches, but you can explore the actual design, the costuming, the type of characterization that you're going to design. But of course, that needs to fit into a brief. So in terms of entertainment, then it can certainly be a very broad spectrum to the brief, but it needs to be always linked back logically and justified towards the brief's outcomes or objectives.